There's a paradox few dare to speak aloud. While most people believe youth is the golden age, for the empath it is often the battlefield. The real peace, the true mastery, comes not in the spring of life, but in its autumn. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And for the empath, that privilege is not granted early. It is earned through years of wounds, lessons, and the slow, painful shedding of illusions. If you are an empath reading this, you know the weight of early years, the confusion of feeling too much in a world that feels too little, the exhaustion of absorbing everyone's pain while your own goes unnoticed, the betrayal of being told you are too sensitive, when in truth, you are simply awake in a world still dreaming. But here is what they never told you. That very sensitivity, the one that made you so unbearable, becomes your greatest power later in life. And today we will walk through the psychological and spiritual reasons why life gets easier for empaths, not earlier, but later. Stay until the end, because you will not only understand their own journey, but discover why your struggles were never weaknesses. They were preparation. In the beginning, the empath enters the world without armor. They feel everything: joy, sorrow, anger, fear. Not just their own, but the emotional currents of everyone around them. It is like being born with skin too thin, nerves too exposed. It's been described as living too close to the collective unconscious, that vast ocean of shared human emotion. While others build walls early, the young empath stands naked before the storm. This is not a gift yet. It is a curse because society does not teach empaths how to navigate their sensitivity. Instead, it punishes them for it. They are called dramatic, weak, overly emotional. Teachers grow impatient. Parents demand they toughen up. Friends exploit their kindness without reciprocation. And so the young empath learns a terrible lesson. To survive, they must betray themselves. They must pretend to feel less, care less, need less. But this betrayal comes at a cost. The empath begins to question their own reality. Am I broken? Am I too much? They carry the weight of others' emotions, while simultaneously being told their own feelings are invalid. According to Jung, this is the birth of the shadow, the part of ourselves we are forced to deny. For the empath, the shadow is not darkness, but light. It is their capacity for deep feeling, for profound connection buried under layers of shame, and it is this burial that makes early life so suffocating. The truth is, this youth is hard for empaths because the world has not yet prepared a place for them. They are seeds planted in concrete, struggling to break through. But what they do not yet know is that this struggle is not failure. It is the beginning of their transformation. If there is one pattern that defines the empath's early years, it is this. They attract takers, narcissists, energy vampires, those who sense an open heart and mistake it for weakness. The young empath, desperate to be loved, to be seen, gives and gives until there is nothing left. They believe that love means sacrifice, that caring means carrying others' burdens as their own. But this is not love, it is conditioning, the projection trap. When we mistake our own unmet needs for connection with another, the empath projects their capacity for deep love onto those incapable of returning it, believing that if they just give more, try harder, understand deeper, the other will finally reciprocate. They do not yet understand that some people do not seek connection, they seek supply. These toxic relationships leave scars. The empath learns to distrust their own instincts. I felt something was wrong, but ignored it. They gaslight themselves before anyone else can. They become hypervigilant, scanning every interaction for danger, yet simultaneously lowering boundaries to prove they are not too much. It is exhausting, it is unsustainable, and it is precisely this exhaustion that becomes the catalyst for awakening, because here is the gift hidden in the wound. Every toxic relationship teaches the empath discernment. Every betrayal sharpens their intuition. Every moment of giving too much reveals the necessity of self-preservation. The empath does not learn these lessons from books or advice. They learn them in the fire, and though the burns are real, so is the forging of wisdom. There comes a turning point in every empath's life, a moment when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of change. Jung called this the crisis of the soul. And for the empath, it often arrives in midlife or later, not because they're slow to learn, but because the lessons required time to penetrate the heart. This is when the empath begins to understand compassion without boundaries is not virtue. It is self-destruction. They realize that saying no is not cruelty. It is self-respect. That walking away from those who drain them is not abandonment. It is survival. That their sensitivity is not a flaw to be fixed, but a power to be protected. The shift is subtle but seismic. The empath stops trying to save everyone. They stop apologizing for their needs. They stop dimming their light to make others comfortable. And in this claiming of space, something miraculous happens. The right people begin to appear. Not those who take, but those who reciprocate. Not those who drain, but those who nourish, according to Jung. This is the process of individuation, the journey of becoming whole. For the empath, wholeness does not mean hardening the heart. It means building a fortress around it, letting in only those worthy of entry. It means understanding that their empathy is precious and therefore must be guarded. This is not the empathy of youth scattered and unprotected. This is empathy refined, empathy with teeth. And here is the paradox. The more boundary the empath becomes, the more powerful their gift. Because now when they offer their presence, it is not from obligation or fear of rejection. It is from choice. And that makes all the difference. By the time the empath reaches their later years, something has shifted in the architecture of their soul. The hypersensitivity that once felt like a burden now reveals itself as clarity. They no longer absorb every emotion in the room. They read it, understand it, and choose whether to engage. The difference is mastery. Jung once said, "The shadow will remain until it is brought into the light." For the empath, bringing the shadow into light means integrating their sensitivity without shame. It means standing in their truth without apology. And when this integration happens, life does not just get easier. It gets richer. The empath discovers that their gift, once weaponized against them, now serves them. They can sense dishonesty before it speaks. They can feel misalignment before it manifests. They can connect deeply with those who deserve their depth and detach swiftly from those who do not. This is not coldness. With this wisdom earned through fire, moreover, society begins to catch up. While youth worships the shallow and the loud, later life values the deep and the genuine. The empath who never fit the mold of surface-level connection finally finds their people. Those who appreciate substance, who hunger for authentic conversation, who understand that silence can be more intimate than words. There's also a profound internal shift. The empath stops seeking external validation. They no longer need others to affirm their worth. They have walked through enough storms to know their own strength. They have given enough, lost enough, and survived enough to trust themselves completely. And this self-trust is the ultimate freedom. The reason life gets easier for empaths later, not earlier, is simple. Wisdom cannot be rushed. You cannot teach a young soul to protect its light before it understands what happens when that light is stolen. You cannot explain the necessity of boundaries to someone who has not yet felt the cost of having none. You cannot gift someone self-love before they have experienced the devastation of self-betrayal. The empath's journey is not linear, it is indirect. They must first be broken to understand their own resilience. They must first lose themselves to discover who they truly are. They must first give everything away to learn the sacredness of keeping something for themselves. And so, if you are an empath still in the struggle, your pain is not permanent. Your sensitivity is not a sentence. Every wound you carry is also a seed. And one day, not today, not tomorrow, But one day, you will look back and see that everything you survived was preparing you for the life you were always meant to live. Get a life where your empathy is no longer your prison, but your throne. A life where your depth is no longer your burden, but your legacy. A life where you are no longer too much for this world. You are exactly, powerfully, undeniably enough. That is the gift only time can give, and it is worth every battle you fought to receive it.